You just heard about this concept of buying a business instead of starting from scratch, and you are wondering, what do I do next? What does this even mean? Where do I go from here? This sounds interesting. Today, I'm going to kind of go through some of the steps that you can take if you are just hearing about the concept of buying a small business.
Welcome to Business Buying for Financial Independence. I'm Tim Delaney, and I help young professionals buy small businesses so they can escape the 9-to-5 and take control of their time, income, and future. If that sounds like you, hit the subscribe button and let's get into it.
So the idea of buying a small business may be foreign to you. You may have just been hearing about it, maybe something that just popped up into one of your social media feeds, or somebody mentioned it to you at a party, whatever the case may be. And you're wondering, all right, that sounds interesting, but how do I do that? Where do I go from here? How do I make that happen? Today, I'm going to walk through a few different avenues and some things that you should be thinking about. I'm not going to layer this into a step 1, step 2, step 3 type process because it is going to vary a lot based on where you are in life and what you're doing. So let's start by, you've just heard this concept and you are just fresh out of college. You don't really have any savings. You might still have some student loan debt, but you know that you don't love your new corporate job and you don't want to be there forever. One of the first things that you can start doing is taking a look at what's out there business-wise. Go to websites like bizbuysell.com, go to LoopNet, talk to the small business community, but just browsing online, looking at the listings in your neighborhood, in your city, or in your industry. So there are people that kind of focus in on an industry and don't care where it is. There are people that focus in on an area, geographic area, because they want to stay there. At the same time that you're doing that, while you start seeing what's out there, you are going to want to start saving for something. Now, common question or common thing that I see out there a lot is you can buy a business with no money. I say it too. I'm guilty. And there are a lot of other people that will say that. Buy a business with no money, blow money down. It is technically possible. I have interviewed other people on this podcast that have done it. However, it is not always straightforward and easy to do it with zero money. And I usually strongly encourage that people have some type of emergency backup, emergency savings, working capital that they're going to be able to tap into if they need it in the early days of buying a business. Doesn't mean you have to, but it is strongly encouraged. So while you are starting to browse, kind of look at the listings that are out there, you will want to start saving money. Now, if you're somebody that is really struggling, you're really struggling to pay your bills as it is, that might mean either making some drastic cuts to your lifestyle or finding a way to make some short-term income. Getting a second job, flipping, going to the Facebook marketplace, free stuff, and then fixing it up, cleaning it up, and then going and selling it for $20. There are countless people out there online that will teach you how to make a quick buck. Don't get caught up in the scammy ones. Find some people that are giving you some real advice in that flipping realm or something of that nature, or just get a second job. Go get that evening job at a restaurant or something like that. Make that little extra money, start saving it. You don't necessarily absolutely have to have it to buy a business, but it does help to have something in the bank. You're going to feel more confident, more comfortable. If you're somebody that's a little bit further along in the career, maybe you already have some retirement savings. Maybe you've paid off your student loans. Maybe you're realizing that your corporate job is not as safe as you thought it was. Again, start browsing those listings, but maybe now you're also calling a broker or two. If you find a listing you really like, give that broker a call. Have a conversation about that business. Maybe sign the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement, so you can get more of the financials, so you can take a deeper look. If you know that you're not ready to buy right away, let the broker know. Most of them won't care that much as long as they know that you're somewhat serious and you are going to be buying at some point in the future. Start taking some deeper analysis of these businesses. Start building relationships with brokers. Maybe start calling accountants and lawyers, finding people in your network that you can take to lunch or coffee and let them know that you're interested in buying business. The more specific you can be with these people about the type or location of a business, the better off you're going to be, because they will remember you if you say, I am looking for a small manufacturing business that makes rubber seals because I have some uncle that did that, or because I studied this class in college and I know everything about rubber seals. They're going to remember that. And if that ever crosses their desk, they're going to remember you. If you say, I'm interested in buying a business one day, they're not going to remember you when they see businesses for sale. Start having those conversations. Browse a little bit more frequently on these websites. Make sure you set up some alerts, email alerts for the style, the industry. Start narrowing things down that you know that you don't want. I have always found it easier to eliminate business types that I don't have any interest in than it is to pick one that I do love. So, for example, for me, I cut out restaurants and bars. I don't want anything to do with that industry. That's my preference. You might love those. You might not want to have anything to do with any type of retail store, which is fair, or a hotel, or whatever it is. So start narrowing down. I find it easier to eliminate things than to try to specifically just pick one that you really love right off the bat. So again, just starting out, no money, way too much debt, all this other stuff. Start saving, start browsing casually, get a feel for what's out there. Take a deeper look, have those conversations with people. Now, if you're somebody that happens to have a decent amount of cash readily available, that you've been trying to decide what type of investment to do. Maybe you bought a rental property a couple of years ago and you're not happy with the cash flow that's coming out of it, headaches from the tenants, and you have some serious equity in that you're ready to sell it, or you're ready to refinance it if you really want to keep it. But yeah, you can use that equity. If you're somebody in that boat, or just have a large after-tax brokerage, you're ready, to make a difference in your life. You're ready to make a change in your job and your career. Be even more aggressive. Start really narrowing down what type of industry you think you want to be in, what type of business you want, where you want it to be, if you have a geographic preference. Start looking at listings, calling brokers much more frequently. Call the brokers of other listings, even if you're not interested in that listing, and tell them what you're looking for. Explain who you are, explain what you're ready to do. And when you make those phone calls, make sure you're selling yourself. Don't just say, I want a business. Tell them what you do, tell them what you have, tell them how you are fit to buy a business. If you're calling about a specific listing, tell them why you're fit for that specific listing. They'll take you more seriously and they'll be more interested in you if you sell yourself to them first. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it's true. Another great step for anybody at any level is to start going to Chamber of Commerce meetups or other small business venues, Rotary clubs, Lions clubs. But a lot of the local chambers of commerce are made up of small business owners in your neighborhood, in your area, and they're pretty inviting. And usually they're very low cost, if any cost, for a citizen member to join and to attend their networking events. So you don't necessarily need to sign up with the Rotary Club and commit to volunteering all these hours, but you can just go to their events, meet small business owners, tell them why you're there, tell them what you do right now, and tell them that you're interested in buying a business in the future. They might ask what kind of business. They might ask what kind of savings you have. They might ask some questions. Just be honest. Tell them you're in initial stages of looking into this option. You'd love to learn more about their business. Ask them if you can take them for lunch. Ask them if you can stop by and let them show you around their business. That can be a great way for you to A, learn about different types of businesses, and B, potentially find a future buyer. And it might not be them, but if you get to know these different business owners, they might think of you when one of their other friends is looking to sell and make a connection for you. So start saving. If you haven't already, get out there, start looking at listings. It's one of the very first things you can do. Just start browsing those listings online, see what's out there, see whether anything makes sense to you, see if there's opportunities that might click and might get you excited. Start networking, start calling people, start going to those industry events. Those are going to be very important just to get some exposure to the different types of businesses out there. You might discover an industry or a niche business that you've never even heard of before. So there's really not one concrete next step when you're just starting out with this concept of buying a business. But hopefully these kinds of ideas get your mind going and give you a little bit of direction on what to do tomorrow. It's more important that you pick a couple of those things that I've just mentioned and really start doing them. You don't need to save $1 million to buy your first business. You don't even necessarily need to save 5 figures, although you should. You can do it with little, with less, but go out there and start looking. You might find something sooner than you expect. And then there are other avenues to buy it as well. There's always partnerships. Even if you don't have the cash, you can partner with people that do. So just start looking, start browsing, start looking at those websites, start talking to the people in business in your area. At the end of the day, that is really the crux of how you can get started if you've just started hearing about buying a small business. Hope this helps you. I would really love some feedback or some things that you did if you have started looking for a business already. What was it that your first step was? Or if that wasn't enough for you, if you want to hear more about how to get going and how to start looking, please hit me up in the comments and let me know. Otherwise, I would really appreciate it if you took a second to hit subscribe, and we will talk to you again soon. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to Business Buying for Financial Independence. If you're serious about owning your time and building long-term wealth, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.